At dinner last night, you made a comment that really struck me also. You said, I've always had the gift of faith. It is a gift. When did you become aware of that? Or how did you experience that as a child?
I just remember as a child just always feeling like God was right beside me. Just always on my shoulder. Like I said, I was the fat, slow, whatever, average, below average. I was never sad. I never had any angst or stress. I always just kind of felt like everything was just always going to work out. I've always had this feeling everything's always going to work out. And I can vividly remember like times in my life where, I'm on my biking to school and, God's with me. Like I'm talking to God, like a friend. I mean, those are just early memories I have. I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that till probably a few years ago, that I've always just had this, was blessed with the gift of faith. Again, that says nothing about my character. It's just something I was blessed with.
How did that manifest during your football career?
Well, so there's like kind of the other side of the story, right? So, first of all, I think prosperity derails more people than adversity does. And so I had enjoyed a lot of prosperity, high school, college, and then I get drafted by my hometown team. The team that I grew up, we used to run home from church to get in front of the TV and watch the Vikings game on Sundays, And here I'm playing for the Vikings. And everybody's slapping me on the back saying, God, you're doing great. We're so proud of you. You're doing awesome. And I'm naive enough. I'm believing. I'm like, yes, I am doing awesome. Yeah. And I can remember I stopped going to church pretty much. I left high school, and I remember the first Sunday, go out to school, we're practicing football. We wake up Sunday morning, we've got the day off. There's 7 other guys in the dorm room with me, and I'm waiting for somebody to say, hey, let's go to church. And nobody said, let's go to church. And so I didn't go. And it was the first Sunday I ever missed. It was, you feel pretty guilty about that. It was hard. Second Sunday rolls around, don't go to church. It becomes a lot easier. The second time and the third time, habits. Yep. Habits, what you talk about. So I've justified not going to mass with like, hey God, I'm really busy doing all these great things. Everybody's telling me how great I'm doing, right? Of course, you play in the NFL. Well, our games are on Sunday. How am I supposed to make it? How do you expect me to go to mass when I gotta go play the Bears? And that's an excused absence, right?
Just because it's the Bears?
Well, any NFL franchise, most of them. So I'd reached this point where I was very focused on worldly success, had all the fame and money, and there's a hamburger named after me in St. Paul. That's how famous I was. If you're a lineman and you have a hamburger named after you, that's pretty big time.
That is big time. That's usually a quarterback thing.
Yeah, it's still there. You come to Minnesota, we'll go get a Matt Birk burger. I just signed the biggest contract in the history of the NFL for a center. I mean, I beyond my wildest dreams. But I knew on the inside there was a huge hole. I knew that I was actually dying. Like all these things were supposed to bring me happiness. This was everything I ever wanted. Why am I not? Why don't I have that joy that I thought I would have? So I meet a girl, become rather smitten with her, and she becomes my wife. And we were she was Catholic too, but falling away a little bit, and but she was like, hey, we gotta go to church. I was like, yeah. I went back to church, and it was kind of like, now this was really the first time as an adult. Like I wasn't going because my parents told me to go, or hey, meet it, it's Christmas, meet us at mass. I went, and I was like, wow, yeah, maybe there's something here. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is, I was raised Catholic, given the gift of the faith as a child. But at some point, all of us cradle Catholics, we have to claim the faith as our own. We have to say, yes, I am a Catholic. And it was so it's through my marriage that I came back to the faith and really became intentional about, being a Catholic, about living out my identity as a child of God, and taking my faith seriously.
You mentioned your wife, Adriana. How much iced tea did you drink in an effort to win your wife's affection?
Okay, so I was a lineman. I was about 315 pounds, single, never cooking for myself, right? So you got to find your places where you can go and get those high-calorie meals. So there was a diner. It's kind of a greasy spoon diner, sort of famous, been there forever. Good food, good rib sticking food, great breakfast, meatloaf, that kind of stuff. So I went in there, and there was this waitress who I liked particularly, and everything at this place is big. All the portions are big, and even the drinks, they're like 32-ounce glasses. So I would always sit in this gal's section, and I'd get an iced tea. Well, it was 32 ounces iced tea. Well, I wanted her to come back and refill my drinks so I could continue hitting on her. And so I would suck down, 3 or 4 iced teas at a breakfast. So Adriana would come back and fill up my glass, and I could, make small talk. So it was some work. I walked out of there with a few belly aches. But it was well worth it because she did become my wife. So